You're going to have to work for a really long time doing that you hate to ever get the opportunity to do what it is that you actually love to do. So you can't just quit things when they're hard or you're in that phase of it's very difficult or it's very frustrating, because that's the phase where everybody quits. And you don't want to be one of those people that quits, because if you can't get better, if you can't push through when it is extremely hard, you have no chance at winning long term. Zero. Obsession and discipline will destroy talent 100 times out of 100 every single time, bro. What is up, guys? It's Andy Frisella, and this is the show for the realists. Say goodbye to the lies, the fakeness, and delusions of modern society. And welcome to motherfucking reality, guys. Today we have Q&AF, a little midweek Q&AF. I was going to do a real talk, but I was just feeling Q&AF, man, so we're going to throw it at you. Right over this way.
You catch it?
Yeah, I caught it, man. I caught it. Like I caught AIDS.
What the fuck? That was so left field.
I'm just saying. Anyway, on with the show. This is how this works. You guys ask questions and we answer them. Typically, this is about personal development, winning, business, life, success. Sometimes we talk about what's going on in the world. You can ask really whatever you want, and we'll answer the questions. So for those of you that don't know, the backbone of this show was the MFCEO Project. It was the #1 entrepreneurial podcast in the world. And so we like to keep that part of the show alive through these Q&AFs. So if you want to submit a question, you can. You can do so a couple different ways. The first way is,
guys, you can email those questions into askandy@andyfrisella.com.
Or you can go in the comments section of YouTube and you can type out your question in the comments and we'll answer from there as well. Other times you tune in, we're going to have CTI. CTI stands for Cruise the Internet. And ironically, the internet does not like to be cruised by us. So those shows really need to be shared out. I need your help there. All right. We get throttle, banned, whatever you want to call it, all the time there. So we need your help sharing those. Other times we have Real Talk. Real Talk is just 5 to 20 minutes of me giving you some real talk. Then we have 75 Hard Versus. That's where people who've completed 75 Hard come on the show and talk about how their life was before, how their life is after, the progress they made, and how you can make the same amount of progress. If you're unfamiliar with 75 Hard, it is the world's most famous mental recalibration program, and you can get it for free. It is the initial phase of the Live Hard program, which is a sustainable lifestyle for those of you that don't understand the program. Go to episode 208 and listen to it. You can get it for free. And if you want to know the ins and outs, the nuts and bolts, you can buy my book. It's called The Book on Mental Toughness. It explains the whole Live Hard program, plus a whole bunch of other chapters on mental toughness, why it's important, why you need it, how to cultivate it, and how to use it to improve your life. Other than that, we don't run ads on the show. You'll notice that. If you listen to any other podcast after listening to the show, you will be ruined, because we don't stop the show 17 times to talk about shit that we don't use just because someone's given us a few Benjamins. All right, I don't like to answer to anybody, so I keep the show ad-free. And in exchange, I ask very simply that you buy my shit and then share the show, which means pay the fee. Mm-hmm. Okay? That means share it. If it makes you think, if it makes you laugh, it gives you new perspective, share it out there. Don't be a hoe.
Share the show.
All right.
But first, a message from my sponsors, guys.
Yes. This is definitely not an ad, but we do have this amazing new First Form Energy and Dreamberry.
I haven't tasted it.
Well, why don't you crack it open there?
Well, because I already got the citrus. I'm like,
well, you're afraid of a little extra caffeine? What are you, a pussy?
I'm balls deep in caffeine right now.
Fucking pussy over there, man. Double up, double fist those energy drinks like a man.
Do it?
Yeah. Get some more tattoos and shit, too.
Damn, that pop loud.
Otherwise, you're not a man. You're just a bitch. Holy shit. That's the first time I've tried it. That's fucking good. Have you had one of these? Have you? These are fucking good.
Tastes like dreams.
Yeah.
Tastes like berries.
This is good.
It's Dreamberry.
This is good. This is a top flavor. This is top 2, 3 flavors, man. This is up there with orange.
You gotta aerate it.
And Tropic Lightning.
You gotta aerate it.
Is that what we call it?
Mm-hmm.
Aerating the flavor,
Activate the taste buds.
keeping the palate aerated.
That's good.
I think it's phenomenal.
I'd say I give that a solid.
It's
3.
phenomenal, DJ.
You want?
It's phenomenal, DJ. It's not just good.
He wants to taste. You want to taste my Dreamberry?
It actually is really fucking good.
Tropic Lightning. That might be number 2, but Tropic Lightning, bro, you can't.
I don't know, man. That's good.
It's not bad. Joe, have you eaten ass
We're getting better at this game.
recently?
Eating ass.
He tasted some of my Dreamberry.
Oh, cleanse his palate with it.
Mm-hmm.
From all that ass. Anyway,
Let's get better today, guys.
yeah. Buy this drink.
It's actually really
Go to
good.
firstform.com. You can get some, but probably not because by the time you look, it's going to be sold out.
I like the can too. This is a sweet can.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You guys make great cans. First Form has nice cans.
Nice cans are a plus. Everybody loves nice cans, bro.
I'm just saying, you guys got the best ones.
Yeah, I know. All right. What? Hey, this is not CTI. This is professional time.
Right. Let's get
CTI is fuck around time.
right.
This is professional
Stop
time.
Around, guys.
Yeah. It's them.
Let's get better.
Bunch of lazy motherfuckers. All right, let's do the show.
Let's get into it, man.
All
Guys, Andy, I got 3 good ones for you, man. Let's get into this, guys. Andy, question number 1. Andy, I'm a manager in my company. We have around 60 employees. I manage 10 of them. And our CEO is now implementing AI and has already cut and fired a team and replaced them with AI. He says it's for the longevity of the company and ensures the management team will be fine if more cuts are made. As a member of the Not a Ho squad, I obviously believe that it's wrong and it's not good for the people. Any advice on how I should move forward?
Man, this is such a hard thing to balance because Pandora's box has already been opened and they've created hard, difficult economic situations where businesses are having to do. Well, here, look, let me explain to you what I think is going on. All right. What I see going on is an intentional downgrade and an intentionally created hardship for medium-sized, small, and the smaller large businesses, okay? Everybody who's not a Globo Corp. This started in 2020 when they closed all the small businesses and they allowed the bigger companies to stay open and swallow up all that business, okay? And the residual effects of that have been real. Like if you drive down the street of any, city, you're going to see restaurants that used to be there that are no longer there. And some of them were there for 100 years, okay? We could go on and on and on and talk about the damage that was created there. But if you look at what's going on in the big picture, and we look at how the money is intentionally being devalued through overprinting, sending the money overseas, which is clearly money laundering if you guys are paying attention in any way, shape, or form. We look at all of this manufactured hardship that's happening in our economy. And in my opinion, the reason that the hardship is being manufactured is that it's going to force companies to implement AI solutions to trim their labor force, which puts more of the employees in the government dependency class, which is ultimately their goal. Their goal is to create a class of people who are completely dependent on the government. And they're trying to sell this to people in a whole bunch of different ways. It'll be great. Universal basic income will take care of all your needs. You won't have to own anything. You'll be super happy. They're telling everybody all this shit, but nobody's buying it, right? Mm-hmm. So when you try to sell something to someone and they don't want it, the next move is they're going to force it on you. And so what I observe happening in the business environment is the forced implementation of AI through intentional economic hardship. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for a company to stay afloat, a lot of these companies are going to have to trim their employees and their departments and replace what they can with AI to reduce costs because it's getting harder to run a business.
That's what you're saying. Price of goods are going up. Cost of labor has gone up.
Yes.
Everything's going up. So
yes.
I got you. Okay.
Yes. So companies are being forced to adopt this technology, okay? And what that does is, the companies are going to survive, but it removes all the in-person jobs and creates that dependency class, which is what the people that are in charge of all this shit intend to do. And so ultimately, what's the solution here? Okay. The solution here is to support companies as a consumer that employ actual human beings and do as much to create jobs and workforce as possible. But unfortunately, companies that do that are still going to feel the economic pressure. So there's going to come a point in time where a new balance is had, I guess, so to speak, or found, where there's technology and people. And because people have jumped at every technological advancement for the last 20 years without thinking about it, we are now in this position where the technology is actually costing people their careers. And if you don't, understand what's going on, go look at how many people Facebook just laid off. Go look at how many people the big tech companies are laying off. These are people who showed up every day for years and years and years contributing to the development of this technology, and now we're getting fired because of it. Yeah. And unfortunately, dude, humans are short-sighted, and people don't think outside what the ramifications could be of something that's new and neat and convenient right now. And so the real solution here on a large scale is that the cultural thing to do in America will have to be to support companies that employ real people as much as possible. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if that's going to happen. And at the end of the day, dude, people are going to survive. They're going to make sure their companies survive. And this should be a real concerning thing for any employee out there and also any business. If you're an employee right now of a business, you should be thinking, how can I provide as much value as I can over the top? Because the alternative is you're going to be replaced by technology, and you're going to be sitting at home, and you're going to be capped on what you can get because no one else is going to be hiring either.
No.
All right. So if you're an employee right now, and I'm giving you some real free game, the next 2 years are going to be crucial to your entire life, because you're either going to become an irreplaceable, valuable part of the organization that you're in, or you're going to be replaced by technology to never, ever be able to move past the economic class that you're in at that point. So it's very important for people as employees to understand this, because this is reality. And unfortunately, I tried to warn people back before it even came out many, many times, but it doesn't seem to be working. And we find these examples of these companies who are replacing their entire sales force, their entire customer service force, all on AI tech. And you have all these influencers out here, bragging about how awesome AI is and how cool AI is. And it's putting people out of fucking jobs. For real. It's ruining people's lives. And nobody's even talking about it or thinking about it. And it's all selfish greed. Remember how I said, I don't know if you hadn't listened, but 2 years ago, I told you guys that the way this would work was they would appeal to people's greed. They would appeal to what money can be made quick and easy with AI. I can write a whole blog post a day with no effort. I can do this and that and this. And that's what's happened. We have tons of influencers who brag about AI, who try to teach all the AI hacks, and it's ruining careers and jobs on a massive scale. And people don't give a fuck because they're making a little money right now teaching it. You see what I'm saying? Yep. So they appeal to the greed. It's now out there. It's like the genie is out of the bottle. And now you have this difficult economic situation where companies either have to adopt it or they have to get real effective with their staff. Yeah.
But that's one thing too. I don't think most people think of. I think most people, when they hear that and they see these business owners converting to AI, it's like, oh well, that owner's, he's just a piece of shit. He just likes AI, whatever the case is. Not understanding that
that's not the case.
A lot of them are you're being forced to
survive. Yeah, listen, dude. The economy right now, if you're in business and you own a company, Yeah. Okay. Most Americans, the majority of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck right now. It's like 70%. Okay. It's like, I forgot what the stat was, but a large percentage of people that make over 100K can't even make it between gaps in their bills. Yeah. Okay.
Paycheck to paycheck. Yeah.
Yeah. I covered the stat about a month ago on the show, but I forgot what it was, but it was considerable. It wasn't the majority, but it was like 30 or 40%, I believe. But the point is that you have to understand, because the consumer did not discern when it came out and say, hey, I'm not buying from a company that uses AI. Now we're in a situation where companies that are using it are able to survive and companies that aren't. Okay. So here's the silver lining. All right. If you own a company, people still want to deal with people. They want to have an over-the-top experience. And AI can't really do the in-person shit the way that people can do it. So you're going to have to be good. You're not going to have to be good. You're going to have to be great at what you do. You're going to have to connect with people. You're going to have to connect with them in a real way. And that will help insulate you from this. But at the end of the day, nobody's going to be insulated completely, because if you want to look at what's happened to Amazon over the last 20 years, they've implemented as much technology as possible, and they've become the biggest company in the world because there's no regulations around what they do. Yeah. You know, the fact that they have an entire, their entire warehouses are pretty much automated and they don't employ people, but yet for the first 15 to 17 years of their business, they didn't have to collect sales tax, so they got a 10% price advantage over brick and mortar retail without employing any employees. The government gave them that. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? This has been part of the strategy for a long time. The government allowed them to do that. Understand, this is an attack on small business, attack on medium business. They do not want the American entrepreneur to survive. They want all of those people dependent on the government. And they want to pay you peanuts, and they want you to be poor, and they want you, to be a little slave. And unfortunately, people don't vote with their dollars the way that they should. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, you should be supporting and spending with companies that, like, I know there's a lot of people listening that say, yeah, and then go home and order from Amazon. For real. They go home and they order the most convenient shit. And so at the end of the day, what people say they're about is not what they're about, and it's going to end up costing them their careers. So to this situation, with your boss, I would probably say he's probably in a bind, and he's probably at a place where he has to cut some overhead, and this is his solution to do so. Mm-hmm. And so you're going to have to figure out a way to create value out of your human workforce, that prevents him from actually having to make those decisions, because those decisions, no one's going to sink their company on that principle. Like it's not going to happen. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to tell you this is just real shit. I employ real people. We don't use AI for shit like that, for anything. All right. But if it gets down to it and we're fucking on the fence, and if we're getting our ass beat by everybody, we're going to have to make that change. And it's because consumers aren't valuing the good American companies that actually employ real people the way that they should. So it's a consumer cultural behavior change that's required, that's not happening fast enough. Yeah. And that's unfortunate, dude, because it's going to end up with a whole bunch of people, working class people, who are sitting at home collecting a very minuscule amount of money, not enough money to own a home. They're going to be renting. They're going to be, it's going to be apartment, pod living on universal basic income. And we could have stopped it by just saying, hey, I'm going to spend my dollars with companies that employ real people, like my companies. Yeah. For real. And that's not just a pitch for me, but you should be discerning about where you spend your money. You should spend your money. You shouldn't be spending your money with big restaurant chains that have 4,000 locations. You should be going to the mom and pop local business. You shouldn't be spending, your money on a company like Amazon when Amazon, isn't like sponsoring your kids' fucking T-ball teams and shit, right? You should be a little inconvenienced to shop at places that are actual companies owned by, medium and small and small, large companies that employ real people. That's where you should be spending your money. And until Americans get wise to that, we're going to continue to lose this battle. And what's the ramification of it is that the entire middle class, working class people are going to be on universal basic income and be fucking like optionless in their lives. Yeah. So it's consumer behavior problem. Yeah. People say, oh yeah, dude, I want to shop with this company because they stand for American values. And I want to shop with this company because they employ actual human beings. But then they'll go right on their phone and order off of Amazon and not think two things of it. And it's like, bro, you're killing your own future by doing that. Mm-hmm. You're killing your own future by shopping at places like that. Yeah. And people just don't connect those dots. So it's a big problem that needs to be corrected.
I love it, man. Guys, Andy, question number 2. Hi, Andy. I'm a 31-year-old physician in my final year of residency training to become a physician. I have completed 12 years of medical education. However, I don't know shit about anything besides what I've learned in medical school, and even that is questionable given the state of our highly unethical medical pharma system. I am determining if I want to specialize further in cardiology or finish my medical training this year and start my own medical practice. Regardless, I know I want to build my own medical practice either as a cardiologist or general practitioner when I'm done with training. What advice do you have for a physician with no business knowledge or experience outside of medicine who wants to build his own practice without the influence of the brainwashed pharma medical industry?
Dude, first of all, I love this question. And the reason I love this question is because you're obviously a highly intelligent person. And most doctors are not intelligent. Okay, this is the truth. Most doctors think because they went to school for 12 years that they're going to come out and they automatically know everything about. Have you ever tried to debate a doctor on anything?
Oh, fuck.
they fucking think they know everything because they went to medical school to learn about intestines and the inside of a body, but yet they know everything about business and they know everything about politics and they know everything about everything. And it's a massive ego problem in the medical and law profession. And this is why so many doctors and so many lawyers end up going broke. So the fact that you understand that you don't know shit about business is a huge advantage over everybody else. Yeah. Because most of these doctors are terrible business people, the worst business people. Okay, you can't get any better at something if you think you already know it. And that's what these people are like. So the fact that you are even open to the idea that you don't know what you're doing is an amazing thing, bro. And I commend you for doing that because clearly you insulated yourself from whatever ego disease these people have. All right. So, so that's my first take. Yeah. And my second take here is how would you go about opening a practice, or how would you go about being independent? I don't know the details of how you would structure that because that's not my expertise. But what I would recommend you do is to find other doctors who have done that and learn from them. There's tons and tons of doctors who have made incredible businesses out of doing things outside of the status quo. Yeah. Okay. Like Dr. TJ, my doctor. Yep. All right. Or Dr. Gabrielle, my other doctor. All right. These doctors have built incredible businesses. Dr. Twyman, you know what I'm saying? Incredible independent practices by doing things outside the box. So what I would do is I would start calling these people or getting in touch with these people, asking them for an hour of their time, taking notes, learning from their mistakes, and then start there because they're going to be able to jump you far ahead any advice I could give you right here on the show. Sure. All right. But just be open, try to find people who've already been down the path, learn from them, and keep that humility that you have about learning when it comes to business. I'm 25 years into my business journey, and I still don't know shit. I know a little bit more than most of you guys because I've been doing it longer, but there's so much I don't know. All right. And if you keep that attitude, you'll keep getting better. That's the cool thing about entrepreneurship. You never stop getting better at it. The older you get, the longer you've been doing it, the bigger competitive advantage you have. Like, you know how many young people I see that think they're, and I'm like, you're making all these mistakes and I can clearly see them, but do I interrupt them? No, because you don't interrupt your enemy when they're making mistakes. All right. You just don't do it. All right. But like when you're an older person and you have experience, you can keep getting better in the game. And if you keep that attitude of, I don't know very much, you just keep getting better and better and better and better and better. And dude, I think that's one of the first times I've ever had a question from a medical professional that actually admitted that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Yeah. Yeah. So
I think that's actually going to probably be a real big move for a lot of them. I mean, we've seen there was a lot of awakening in 2020, right, with all of the stuff going on. So maybe there is going to be a bigger push to private practice and stuff like this.
Well, I also think that there's a demand for it. I mean, people don't like going to the hospital and they don't like sitting in the ER for 7 hours to be told, they can't even be treated. Yeah. And then if they want to, like, the hospitals have become a huge just marketing system. If you go to the ER for a broken fucking finger, they're going to keep you in the ER for 7 hours, and then they're going to tell you we need to keep you overnight and monitor you.
Yeah, for your broken finger.
Yeah, right. And then they're going to charge you $100K. Like, bro, it's a business, and everybody recognizes that. Remember the last time I had to go to the ER, and there was that young girl who was in there that was
her
sick.
Dad, the construction worker. Yeah,
bro, it's not a real thing for the average American person anymore, and people are looking for alternatives. They're looking for people outside of these networks and these global corp conglomerate of medical bullshit that nobody can like operate with.
Yeah. Well, they're charging premium prices for bullshit service.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Like, I don't care if I got to pay $100,000.
Yeah.
But I better be in and out in in 15, 20 minutes, fixed,
I mean,
drugged up. You know
bro,
what I'm saying?
the thing is like, dude, it shouldn't, when you go in the hospital and they give you some aspirin and it costs you $700, that's not okay.
Yep. And Walgreens is right across the
Yeah,
street.
that is the problem with the medical system. And everybody's recognizing it. So I think there's a massive market for people that want to work outside that. But setting up a practice and doing all that, all the same principles apply once you have it set up. It's servicing your customers in an amazing way. It's making it remarkable so that they talk about it when they leave your practice. Word of mouth is always going to be your best top of funnel, putting people, in your top of funnel marketing that you can do. And that just requires you doing a great job for people, going above and beyond and doing things in such a way that they can't help but tell their friends about. And those things actually, if you do those things well, it's kind of hard to f that up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I would find some doctors that who have done what it is you're trying to do. I would try to learn from them. If you can't get them on the phone, pick apart what they do from the outside the best you can. That's all I ever did. I was just a student of all the companies that I wanted our company to be like. I wasn't able to call people and talk to them. I just watched them and I dissected every single move they made and wondered why they made it. And I figured it out. And, eventually I started doing it. And then eventually we surpassed them all. But and that's what we do now. Like when I look at companies that we're trying to beat, I look at companies and I try to break down all the moves they make. And I say, okay, they're doing this. Why are they doing that? Why do they do this? How do they do that? And I just become a student of these other companies in a highly detailed way. And I try to learn everything I can about them, break it down, and then make a plan about how I'm going to go about beating them over the next, 10 years. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, that's my advice on that, man.
I love it, man.
Yeah, I like the fact that he's open to learning.
Yeah.
Like the ego problem with doctors and attorneys is absurd.
And don't get a Porsche 911 either.
Yeah. I mean, I can own one, but not here. Yeah, because that is the ultimate doctor car.
That is
the ultimate doctor car is it's a low-level, entry-level Porsche 911, and then everywhere they go, they leave the keys on the table so that everybody can see the fucking keychain. They park in they double park the car. Like, bro, it's every single one of them do this. Yep. So why don't you, like, real advice, like for all you doctors, quit being douchebags. I'm just being real. When I go to the hospital, you know where I park?
Yeah.
I park in the doctor parking. I do it. You know why? Because I want them all to fucking know.
Yep. They're going to be like, damn, who's that doctor?
That's
Look
right.
at that Porsche.
That's right. That's right. I drive something that's going to shit all over every single one of them, and I park it in their spot.
Yeah, I love it.
You guys call me a douchebag all you want, bro. These people need to be humbled.
It's real shit. Somebody's got to do it.
That's right.
Yeah. Guys, Andy, our third and final question. Question number 3. Andy, I'm 32 years old. And I feel like I just woke up and realized that I haven't kept my promises that I made to myself back when I was 18 or 20. Everything is just meek and blah. I sleep to go to work. I work to go to sleep. And the problem is I feel like I can't really pinpoint where exactly I lost my ability to dream and make goals. I can't figure out where I messed up. And I feel like knowing that will help me pick up where I left off. I know that the first step is to go, but my question is where? Yeah, any advice or thoughts on this?
Well, nobody's going to tell you where you want to go, bro. Like, you have to sit down and make a decision. Most people fail their entire lives because they're incapable of making a decision about who they want to become and what they want to do with that. All right? They put more effort into deciding what they're going to do on the weekend than they do in their whole fucking life. And then they wonder why you wake up when you're 31 and you say, oh man, this sucks. No shit, it sucks. Because the people who don't suck, they start thinking about that when they're 20. They start thinking about that when they're young, and they put in work every single day while you're out partying and you're out drinking and you're out living the life and you're out doing all this shit. There are out here that are grinding it out day by day by day. And everybody out here who parties their life away, they look at those people and they say, why is that guy so serious? Well, you need to relax. You need to not take yourself so serious until they're 40 when that person is killing it. And all these people are like, man, I guess, you finally made it work. No, I was making it work the whole time and you made fun of me about it. All right. So you're 31. You're lucky you're learning this now. But what you need to understand is that no one's going to make a decision about where the you need to be but you. Okay. So stop being a bitch and make a decision, because eventually your time's going to run out and you're not going to have an ability to even adjust it. All right, time runs out. You do not have all the time in the world. All these knuckleheads on the internet that tell you, oh, dude, it doesn't matter what you do in your 20s and 30s. You know, you can, blah, blah, blah. It does matter. That's real shit. It does matter. Now, can you do much more, much faster now because of technology? Absolutely. But if you waste your 20s and 30s and you start at 40, do you still have a chance? Sure. Is it going to be mega hard? Yes. Because you're going to spend the next 15 years of your life at an age where you have a mortgage and kids and probably a divorce or whatever you got, you know, statistically it's reality.
Sure.
That you have to pay for while you're trying to do all this stuff. So when you're young and you're 20 and you don't have a wife and you don't have kids and you don't have a mortgage, you have a much easier time moving through the process of building real shit, which is that leads to another thing. This is why all these motherfuckers that try to think that they got the game mastered because they know how to build a funnel, you guys are missing the point. You're trying to get to a point where you could drive a cool car. You're not understanding that you need to use that asset of skill, of building a funnel or social media, whatever skill you have, to build something that actually grows in equity, meaning a business, a real company, something that actually is worth something. So that way you're getting the cash flow and you're getting the nut on the backside. But you guys want to follow all these dudes on the internet and just run around and flash your dick around when, dude, really your dick is 0.1 inches long. You don't even know it yet. For real.
That's real
shit. I see these dudes flashing their bank accounts on the internet like they're crushing shit. Like, bro, you don't even understand. You're telling on yourself. You're telling on yourself. You're telling the world how broke you actually are, because there are levels to this. And at the upper levels, people laugh at you. There's this idea of getting rich in 1 week and we're going to kill it and we're going to crush it and I'm going to fucking floss around. That is the quickest way to waste your opportunity into building something real. I'm sorry. You can have some fun along the way, but the real thing you need to do is you need to concentrate on what skills you have, and then how do you use those skills to build something that's going to accumulate value on the backside. That is the game if you want to be wealthy forever, not wealthy for 5 years and then have to figure out what the you're going to do. All right? So, dude, the point is that no one's going to make this decision for you. No one's going to come around and save you. No one's going to do the work for you. No one's going to tell you what you should or shouldn't be. In fact, when you decide what it is you should or shouldn't be, everybody's going to tell you you're crazy. Everybody's going to tell you you're wasting your time. Everybody's going to tell you you're stupid. And you're going to have to be able to go through that. And if you can't go through that, you cannot win. It's impossible. All right? So make a decision. Say, I'm doing this. I'm going to become this. It starts today. And then take the next 10 years and commit every single fucking ounce of energy you have to becoming that. And I guarantee you'll become it. The problem is that people spend most of their life in this nether region where they're like, God, I'm just unhappy with what I do. I just don't like, but they don't change it. Yeah. Well, if you don't change it, what are you going to get? You're not going to get the same, by the way. You're actually going to get worse. Because the longer time goes, the more miserable you're going to be, and the more shit you're going to have to pay for, which means the more dependent you're going to be on the position that you're in right now. So unless you make a change, unless you decide I'm going to be this and go do it, it's actually going to get worse. It's not going to stay the same. Because you can only get better and you can only get worse. You cannot maintain. Success is a sliding scale. The entire fucking game is getting better all the time. And if you're not moving at least the pace of the game of getting better, you're actually going backwards. This is why people who own businesses who decide, man, I've made as much money as I want to make, I'm going to take a vacation every week and I'm going to go to the lake house Thursday through Tuesday every single week and everything's going to be good. And then 5 years down the road, their business is out of business because they're not improving at the pace they need to improve to quote unquote maintain. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, man.
So you have to be moving forward, even if you're trying to just kind of stay where you are. You still have to be moving forward at a slow pace. Otherwise, you're losing. So my advice to this person is, dude, you're lucky you figured this out at 31 and not fucking 51. Yeah. Because at 51, there ain't much you can do about it. And yes, there's a lot of great stories about people who are over 40 that have become billionaires. I actually shared a story like that on my Instagram just the other night. But the reality of it is this. That's the rare shit. That is not the norm. That is the anomaly. That is not the norm. Okay? The norm is people who take their youth and dedicated to their craft and show up day in and day out and day in and day out, no matter if they feel like it or not, that end up producing a great career, a great life, a great fulfilling existence for themselves. You're never going to do that with indecisiveness. You're never going to do that with indecision. I firmly believe the reason most people lose in life is because of indecision. It's not because they don't have the skills. It's not because they are incapable. It's because they can't make a decision about what they're going to do. They look at all of this stuff. I'd like to do this week. I'd like to do that next week. I'd like to do this. And what ends up happening is they spend, and this is a whole nother discussion about it, because what ends up happening here, guys, is that the person who can't commit to a decision ends up repeating this cycle throughout their life. And the cycle looks like this. We're going to take this guy as an example. I'm 31. I don't like what I'm doing. I'm going to make a change. So he makes the change, right? And it takes 3 years to even get through the transition process to where you feel comfortable and competent at what you do. All right. But before that 3 years is even up, they're already like, this isn't for me. I'm going to try something else. So then they repeat this again. All right. Now you're 6 years in. All right. And you get to the end of that 3 years and you don't give it enough time. And you say, this isn't for me. And you make another change. And what ends up happening is people go 3 years, 6 years, 9 years, 12 years, 15 years. And all of a sudden, bro, they're 35 years old or 45 years old. And they're like, where the fuck did the time go? Well, dude, if you had just stuck with that first thing, think where you'd be now.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Bro, this isn't fun. Like the idea that is spread on the internet of entrepreneurship being this fun thing that you get to do every single day, or your career, entrepreneurship, is this fun thing that you get to show up every single day, and it's just gonna be fun. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna make you feel fulfilled. That's a lie. You're gonna have to work for a really long time doing shit that you fucking hate to ever get the opportunity to do what it is that you actually love to do. So you can't just quit things when they're hard, or you're in that phase of it's very difficult, or it's very frustrating, or it's very hard, because that's the phase where everybody quits. And you don't want to be one of those people that quits, because when you start out, there's 1,000 people trying to do, and I'm just making this up. Sure. There's 1,000 people trying to do exactly what you're trying to do. And after 3 years, that 1,000 goes down to 100 because everybody quits. And most people end up being in that fucking, 900 people that quit. Okay, and now you're competing against 100, and then 3 more years go by, and out of that 100, there's 20. Okay, so now 6 years in, out of 1,000 people, there's only 20 left, and then 3 more years out of that 20, there's 10. All right, and this is how it works. It's persistence. It's fortitude. It's grit. It's persevering the hard times. It's pushing through the times when everybody else quits, when things are frustrating and things are draining and it's sucking your soul and you'd rather die than take another step forward. It's pushing through those times that produce the greatness in your craft that everybody searches to have. And then when you become great at that craft and everybody else has quit, you feel like the man. You feel super fulfilled because you're confident. You know what you're doing. You've been doing it for 12 years and everybody else quit. And then you're way ahead of the 1,000 people who are starting this year, the same path you're on. So those people are easy money for you. You just beat their asses. This is how the game works. So it's persistence, bro. This is why we talk about 75 hard and live hard so much. Because if you can't get better, if you can't push through when shit is extremely hard, you have no chance at winning long term. Zero, bro. I don't care how talented you are, okay? Obsession and discipline will destroy talent 100 times out of 100, every single time, bro. So you have to become someone, and that's the good news. You can become someone who's obsessed. You can become someone who's disciplined. Those are things you can control. You can't really control your talent. You can control your skill set, which appears to be talent from the outside after 20 years, right? Like people look at me and they say, oh, that's a talented entrepreneur. Yeah. No, I'm a dumbass who's just been doing it a whole long time and I accumulated a bunch of skills. And to you, it appears that it's talent. It's not talent. It's going out, getting my ass kicked 1,000 times and learning the lesson every single time and not repeating it twice. And it appears to be talent from the outside. It's not talent, bro. It's perseverance. It's grit. It's fortitude. It's pushing through the times when everybody else quits, and you're left as one of the few still operating. And this is the problem that most people make in their lives. Yeah. They never get great because they don't give themselves enough time to be great. So I know there's a lot to that answer, but at the end of the day, here's the deal. Whatever you decide, fucking decide that you're going to do it for 70 years and stick to it. And eventually in 10 years, you're going to be great at it. And then you'll have 60 years of awesomeness. That's what's going to happen. Yeah. But the idea of going from thing to thing to thing to thing to thing, this is why internet culture is so damaging to people.
Because they get caught in that hamster wheel.
Bro,
man.
It's the new thing this year. Mm-hmm. You know, it was fucking crypto, then it was NFTs, then it was e-com, then it was this, then it was that, then it was this, now it's this. And it's always this new thing. Bro, you'll lose that way. You might win today, you might win this year, you might win for a couple years, but eventually you're going to lose. You have to play the long game. What would you want to do? If you could do anything in your life for the next 50 years, what would that be? What would that be? Because whatever the fuck that is, if you're an entrepreneur, that's the company you should be building. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's not a short time frame. And we have a bunch of knuckle fucks on the internet that tell people bad information because they've never actually even really done it. Bro, real talk. How many people out here talking about entrepreneurship have really built a company?
No.
Why are we not asking these questions? Why are we not asking these questions when it comes to building companies? How many companies this person built? What do they do? How long have they been around? How many people have they served? How many employees do they have? Can I buy their product? How do they fulfill their product? How's their customer service? How's their actual product quality? What do you guys not ask these questions when you see all these people telling you how to build a company on the internet? Like, real talk. You should learn from people who have built shit, okay? And people who have built shit are all going to tell you, they're going to listen to the last 10 minutes or whatever I've been talking, and they're going to say, that's correct. It's the game is outlasting. The game is pushing through when everybody else quits. The reason most people fail is because they cannot commit and they cannot see things through the hard times. That's it.
I love it, man. Well, guys, Andy, that was 3.
Yep. Go pay the fee.